You know, that little green light on your Ring doorbell. The one that blinks when it senses motion. I never thought that tiny light would completely shatter my life. I was just grabbing a late coffee, phone buzzing with a motion alert from our apartment, figured it was just a package delivery. Maybe the neighbor's cat again, tapped the notification, and suddenly the whole world just stopped. Voice tightens, pace quickens slightly. There they were, clear as day on my screen. My girlfriend Sarah and my own brother Mark, walking into our place together, laughing way too close. That sick feeling hit me right in the gut. This wasn't a quick drop-by. I watched the live feed, frozen, as they moved inside, out of the camera's view. The silence after the door closed was the loudest thing I've ever heard. What was happening in my home with my brother? Shift to building anger and disbelief. I scrolled back, found earlier clips. Weeks of them, little moments I'd missed. Him arriving when I was supposedly at work. Her letting him in. That smile meant for him. The evidence was right there, saved on the cloud. Proof I couldn't unsee. The betrayal wasn't just Sarah, it was Mark, my family. How could they both do this? Introduce the confrontation, build tension, rage and heartbreak just took over. I needed them to see it, to look me in the eye. So, I did something maybe crazy. I waited. Sunday dinner at Mom's, the whole family gathered. Food on the table, everyone talking. I felt numb. I just stood up, hooked my phone to the TV, and hit play on the clearest Ring clip. That moment they walked in together. End on unresolved chaos and cliffhanger. The room went dead silent. You could hear a pin drop, then chaos. Sarah screaming, Mark trying to shout me down, my mom crying. But the worst part, the looks, not just at them, at me, like I was the monster for showing the truth, like exposing their secret was the real crime. Now they're all furious. With me, my own family, saying I humiliated everyone, destroyed the peace. How did I become the villain here? What happens now, when the people who should have my back are blaming me for their lies? That's where things get even more messed up. Looking back, maybe there were signs, little things I brushed off. Sarah being weirdly protective of her phone lately, taking it everywhere, even the shower. Mark suddenly being super busy whenever I suggested hanging out, or making these awkward jokes about me being lucky to have her. I thought he was just being a jerk big brother, you know, not this, never this. The trust felt solid, or I thought it was. Now, it's like the floor vanished. Voice tightens. Focusing on the discovery process after that first alert, I couldn't stop. I spent hours going back through the Ring history. It wasn't just that one time. It was Tuesdays when I had my late shift at the garage, Thursday afternoons when she said she was at yoga, short visits, longer ones, always when I wasn't supposed to be home. Seeing it laid out like that, timestamps glaring on the screen, it felt like being punched over and over. The worst part, seeing them relaxed, comfortable, like they belonged there, in our space that wasn't just cheating. It felt like they were stealing my whole life, piece by piece, right under my nose. Shifting to the family reaction, building frustration in my family. Their reaction at dinner. It wasn't shock turning to anger for me. It turned against me instantly. My mom kept sobbing. Why did you have to show everyone? Why couldn't you handle this privately? Like I caused the scene. Not them walking into my apartment. My dad just stared at his plate, silent. My aunt actually said, well, things happen. Relationships get complicated. It's my brother and my girlfriend, introducing the cheater's defense. Deepening the mystery, Sarah finally screamed that it wasn't what it looked like, that Mark was just consoling her because I was distant lately. Mark jumped in, all fake outrage, saying I'd taken the moment out of context, that I was paranoid, that I was trying to ruin his reputation. Ruin his reputation? Are you kidding me? But the seed was planted. Now everyone's whispering about my trust issues, asking if I was neglecting Sarah, if maybe I pushed them together. They barely looked at the proof on the screen, ending on unresolved tension and the core conflict. So now I'm stuck. The two people who betrayed me most are spinning this whole other story, and my family, half of them won't even talk to me. They're acting like I blew up Thanksgiving, not like I exposed a massive lie that was happening right in front of them. How do you fight that? How do you prove the truth when people decide they don't want to see it? They just want the shouting to stop, even if it means burying what really happened. I exposed the affair, and somehow, I'm the one left completely alone, drowning in their denial. The silence from my family was almost worse than the shouting. My phone blew up for 2 days straight after the dinner. Furious texts from Sarah calling me a psycho, Mark ranting about invading privacy, my aunt pleading for me to fix this. Then nothing. Radio silence. Like I'd ceased to exist. That's when the real gaslighting started. Mom finally called, her voice thin and exhausted. They both feel terrible, she insisted. Sarah says it was just emotional. She was lonely. You were always working. Mark swears he was just being a friend who spent afternoons in my apartment with my girlfriend. The Ring timestamps screamed otherwise, but hearing Mom repeat their excuses, trying to smooth it over, it made me question my own sanity for a second. Was I blowing this up? Pacing shifts, revealing practical fallout, then came the practical nightmare. Sarah hadn't moved out. I was the one crashing on a buddy's lumpy couch because walking into that apartment felt like stepping into a crime scene. My stuff was still there. My clothes, my Xbox, the framed photo of us from that hiking trip, now tainted. My buddy Mike saw the ring footage. Dude, it's crystal clear, he kept saying, shaking his head. How are they spinning this? But when Sarah's lawyer's letter arrived, yes, already threatening me for illegally obtaining and distributing private footage if I didn't take it down, or else, the cold reality hit. They weren't backing down, they were lawyering up. Suddenly, my proof felt like a liability. Was I breaking some law protecting their secret? Introducing a new angle. Social manipulation. The whispers turned into full-blown rumors. An old high school friend messaged me. Heard you had a meltdown at your mom's. You okay, man? Mark's version was spreading. The unstable brother, who misinterpreted innocent visits, who publicly humiliated everyone over nothing. Sarah changed her Facebook status to single, with some vague quote about weathering storms and finding strength in truth. The comments were flooded with supportive emojis from people who had no idea she was the storm. The audacity was breathtaking. They were painting me as the villain, the unstable one, while they played the misunderstood victims. The ring footage was real, undeniable, and yet their story was winning. Deepening the family fracture, the final gut punch came from my younger sister Leela. She'd been quiet since the dinner. When she finally called, her voice was small. Mark came over. She said. He cried. Jake. He said he messed up trying to help Sarah because you were checked out. But showing the video, he said you wanted to destroy him. Mom's a wreck. Can't you just talk for mom's sake? The pressure was suffocating. Repair the peace, sweep the affair under the rug, pretend the footage never existed, forgive. But how do you forgive when they're not even sorry? When they're rewriting history and turning everyone against you? The evidence was on my phone, but the battle was being fought in the hearts of everyone I loved, and I was losing. Badly. What proof do you have when people choose not to believe their own eyes? The silence in Mike's apartment was suffocating. Sarah's lawyer sat on the coffee table like a ticking bomb. Illegally obtaining footage. Could they really twist me, exposing their affair into me breaking the law? The ring was the count, my apartment door. But doubt gnawed at me. What if they found some loophole? What if they used this to silence me for good? Mike tossed me a beer, his face grim. They're playing dirty, Jake. Real dirty. You need something bigger than timestamps, bigger than seeing them walk in laughing. What else was there? Pacing quickens, a desperate search. That's when I remembered the Ring app. It saves motion-triggered clips. Yeah, but sometimes, if the motion keeps going, it saves longer videos. Mostly useless stuff, delivery guys walking away, trash, blowing by. I'd never checked beyond the alerts. My hand shook as I grabbed my laptop, logging into the Ring cloud, scrolling past the damning entry clips, searching for longer files around those same cursed times. Tuesday, 2:15 p.m., Thursday, 3:47 p.m. My heart hammered against my ribs. Please, just something. A glimmer of hope immediately threatened, and then I saw it. Thursday, 3:47 p.m. Clip duration, 17 minutes. 17 minutes. Most clips were 30 seconds. Why was this one so long? Had the motion sensor picked something up inside after the door closed? My finger hovered over the play button. This could be nothing, or it could be everything. Proof. They couldn't gaslight away. Proof of what really happened inside my home. Before I could click, my phone exploded. Not a text. A call. Mom again. Her name flashed, a wave of guilt and fury crashing over me. Ignore it. Click the video. Jake. The walls close in as the video started loading. A heavy rhythmic thudding echoed through Mike's apartment door. Not a knock. A pounding, fists hammering against the wood. Mike shot up, eyes wide. Who the hell I knew? Even before Mark's voice, raw and furious, roared through the thin door. Jake, open the damn door. I know you're in there. My blood turned to ice. How did he find me? Sarah, did she track my phone? The laptop screen flickered, the video player buffering, agonizingly slow thud, thud, thud. Open up, or I swear to God. Mike moved towards the door, hand raised. Don't, I choked out. The video started. Just the empty hallway view after they'd entered. Seconds crawled by. Mark's pounding shook the walls. You humiliated Sarah. You humiliated me. You broke Mom. My phone, silenced but not stopped, vibrated violently on the table. Mom, calling relentlessly. The pressure was a physical weight crushing my chest. The moment of unbearable tension on the laptop screen. The hallway view flickered. The motion sensor icon lit up. Movement detected. Living room. The camera angle shifted slightly. Triggered by something inside the apartment. The video feed jumped, and suddenly it wasn't just the empty hall anymore. A blur of movement reflected in the glass panel of my bookcase across the room. A reflection, close, intimate, undeniably them. My breath hitched. There it is. But before I could see more, before I could process it, Mark's voice hit a terrifying pitch. This ends now, Jake. And Mike Pale looked at me, hand on the deadbolt. Jake, he's gonna break it down. What do I do? The damning reflection was frozen on my screen. Mum's call lit up the phone. Mark's fists threatened to splinter the door. Every path led to disaster. Do I show Mike? Do I face Mark? Do I answer Mom and beg for peace? The truth was right there on my screen, and it felt like it was about to get me killed, or worse, silenced forever. The pounding stopped dead. 1 second Mark was roaring, shaking the doorframe. The next, silence, heavy, thick silence. Mike froze, his hand still hovering near the deadbolt, eyes wide. On my laptop screen, the damning reflection in the bookcase, glass held Sarah leaning into Mark, his hand unmistakably tangled in her hair, their faces close, but the silence outside was more terrifying than the noise. What was he doing then? A low, guttural sound, not anger, pain, a choked sob. Jake, Mark's voice, stripped raw, scraped through the wood. Please, open the door, please. The shift was jarring. From rage to desperation. My finger trembled over the laptop touchpad. The video was still playing, and that's when I heard it. Faint, tinny, but clear through the laptop speakers. Voices. The Ring had picked up audio inside the apartment. Double quotes, ... Told you, we need to be careful. Sarah's voice, sharp with anxiety, muffled but distinct. Mark's reply, lower, strained. I am careful, but this, hiding it, it's killing me, especially now. Now changes everything, Sarah hissed. You think he won't notice? He's not stupid. Mark. And what about the other thing? How long do you think we can hide that? The other thing. Hide what? My blood ran cold. This wasn't just an affair. There was something else. Something, but bigger. They were terrified of me finding out. On the video, their reflection showed Sarah pulling back, gesturing wildly towards her stomach. Oh God, the implication slammed into me like a truck. Was she? Could that be the other thing? Outside, Mark started pleading again, his voice cracking. Jake, listen to me. It's not just. It's complicated. Sarah's scared. We both are. You don't understand what's happening. His desperation was real, fueled by panic. He knew I had the footage. He knew I might have heard. His world was collapsing because the Ring audio had captured their secret conversation. Before I could process the bombshell, before I could even look at Mike's stunned face, my silenced phone lit up again. Not Mom this time. An unknown number. A text preview flashed on the screen. Sarah Carter's attorney, Mr. Evans. Further to our letter regarding the unlawful Ring footage, we must urgently discuss a highly sensitive matter pertaining to Ms. Carter, single quotes as ... double quotes. The message cut off on the preview. Sensitive matter. The other thing, the potential pregnancy. Sarah wasn't just lawyering up over the affair exposure anymore. This was about something else entirely. Something she needed to protect fiercely. Mark was breaking down outside the door, begging for mercy he didn't deserve. Sarah's lawyer was circling, hinting at a devastating secret, and I was trapped in Mike's apartment, holding the explosive Ring audio evidence that could blow their lies apart, or bury me completely if they found a way to twist it. The truth was a live wire in my hands, and touching it could electrocute everyone. Do I open the door to Mark's frantic pleas? Do I answer the lawyer's ominous text? Or do I hit play on that audio again and hear the terrible confirmation I dreaded most? The stakes weren't just about betrayal anymore. They were about to redefine my entire life. The pounding silence outside felt heavier than the noise. Mark's broken pleas hung in the air. My eyes flicked between the frozen video reflection, the lawyer's half-texted threat, and Mike's stunned face. That phrase, the other thing, echoed, Sarah gesturing towards her stomach. The lawyer's sensitive matter. It clicked with terrifying certainty. Pregnant, was it even mine? The timeline, those Tuesdays and Thursdays, my blood wasn't cold anymore. It was boiling. I didn't open the door for Mark. I opened my laptop, cued the audio again, louder, turned the speakers towards the door. Then I hit play. Sarah's anxious voice filled Mike's apartment, clear as a bell now, ... The other thing. How long do you think we can hide that? Mark's strained reply, especially now, is killing me. Sarah sharper, you think he won't notice? He's not stupid. Mark, and what about the baby? The word baby hung in the sudden dead quiet. Outside, Mark made a strangled sound. Inside, Mike muttered, holy crap. Then, Mark's voice, raw and desperate, came through the door, softer now. Jake, ... Okay, you heard, yes, Sarah's pregnant. He took a shaky breath. It's mine. Hearing him admit it, after weeks of lies and gaslighting, was like a physical blow, but it wasn't the twist. It happened once. Jake, Mark, pleaded voice thick months ago after Dad's heart scare. We were both a mess, scared. It just ... happened. We swore it was a mistake. We stopped. Then she found out she was pregnant and panicked. We didn't know what to do. We were trying to figure it out ... How to tell you, without destroying everything, trying to figure it out. By sneaking into my apartment, by letting me find out like this. Rage warred with a sickening sense of betrayal so deep it felt bottomless. My own brother. My girlfriend. A baby ... Then came the twist. The one I didn't see coming. Mark's voice dropped, barely a whisper against the door. But Jake ... There's something else. Something Sarah didn't even know when she said that on the recording. He paused, the silence heavy. Remember last year? When you had that fever for weeks, the doctor ran all those tests, including fertility. A cold dread washed over me. I did remember. Vaguely, it was a precaution, they said. Everything came back ... inconclusive. They said it could take time, not to worry. I hadn't thought about it since. Sarah found the paperwork, Mark whispered, his voice cracking after we knew about the baby. She looked into it more. Saw the specialist, notes he never followed up on, Jake. The tests weren't just inconclusive, they showed it was extremely unlikely, almost impossible for you. The room tilted. The ring footage, the affair, the betrayal, the baby. It all crashed together. But this changed the axis. Sarah wasn't just hiding their baby, she was potentially hiding the fact that I couldn't have one. Had she known all along? Was that why she'd been distant? Why she'd turned to Mark? Or had she only just found out, adding another layer of panic to her lies? The lawyer's text suddenly made horrific sense. The sensitive matter wasn't just the affair or the pregnancy, it was potentially my medical information Sarah had accessed without my consent. The silence stretched. Mark was crying softly outside. Mike stared at me, speechless. The ring footage on my laptop seemed trivial now compared to the bomb Mark had just dropped. The betrayal wasn't just emotional or physical. It felt like they'd stolen a piece of my future, my identity, and hidden it behind a wall of lies. That I finally moved. Not towards the door. I picked up my phone, not to call the lawyer back. I opened the Ring app, selected the damning 17-minute clip with the audio, hit download. Then, I looked at Mike. "Get your keys," I said, my voice surprisingly steady, hollowed out by the shock but clear. "We're leaving right now, and Mike, back up that file somewhere safe. This isn't just about an affair anymore." I glanced at the door where my brother's shattered world waited. This is war, and I finally have the truth. I didn't know what I'd do with the paternity bombshell or the medical revelation. But I knew one thing. The ring footage, and now this audio, were my only armor. The villains had shown their hand. Now it was my move. But not here. Not while Mark was falling apart on the other side of the door. I needed space. I needed to breathe. And I needed to figure out how deep this betrayal truly went. The screen door clicked shut behind us as Mike's truck roared to life, leaving the echoes of my shattered life, and the proof of it, fading in the dark apartment behind me. The fight was far from over, but the first real blow, that was mine. Silence in Mike's truck was heavy, broken only by the hum of the engine and the rhythmic thump of the tires. I clutched the phone containing the downloaded ring footage and audio, my proof, my shield. Mark's desperate confession about the paternity and my fertility echoed in my head, a toxic mix of rage and bone-deep hurt. "Almost impossible for you," the words were a scar. The next few weeks were a blur of harsh reality. I found a small apartment, my own space, sterile but safe. My first call wasn't to Sarah or Mark, it was to a lawyer, a good one, recommended by Mike's uncle. I laid it all out. The affair caught on Ring, the pregnancy, Mark's admission about the paternity, and crucially, Sarah accessing my confidential medical records without consent. That last bit, the lawyer's eyes hardened. "That's not just betrayal, Jake, that's potentially a serious HIPAA violation and invasion of privacy. We can use it." And we did. When Sarah's lawyer sent another threatening letter about the illegally obtained ring footage, mine fired back. Hard. We didn't just deny their claims about the footage, it was my door, my account, perfectly legal. We were attacked. We mentioned the audio specifically, capturing their conversation about the pregnancy and their fears. And we formally accused Sarah of improperly accessing and using my private medical information, demanding she preserve all records. We also formally requested a paternity test. Once the baby was born, the wind went out of their sails. Fast. Sarah's lawyer suddenly became very open to discussion. Mark, through his own shell-shocked lawyer, begged for a meeting. No more rage. If yours fear and regret, I didn't meet them. Not then. My lawyer handled it. The outcome, Sarah dropped all legal threats about the ring footage. She admitted, through her lawyer, to accessing the medical portal out of concern after finding old paperwork, but couldn't explain why she never mentioned it. She agreed to a legally binding paternity test after the birth. Spoiler, it confirmed. Mark was the father of my family. It took time, a lot of time. My parents were shattered, caught between two sons and a grandchild born from such pain. My mom finally saw the gaslighting for what it was, the way they'd tried to make me the villain to cover their own shame. It wasn't instant forgiveness towards me, but the denial cracked. They started reaching out awkwardly, painfully. The family dinners were gone, maybe forever, but a fragile connection remained. I sold the apartment. Every corner held a ghost of Sarah, of Mark, of the betrayal the ring had exposed. The money helped me start fresh. I didn't pursue legal action against Sarah for the medical records in the end. The threat was enough. The paternity test was the closure I needed on that front. The ring footage. It's still saved, encrypted, backed up, proof of the day my world imploded, but I don't look at it anymore. The anger, while justified, was eating me alive. Therapy helped, so did distance. I moved cities for a new job, Mark and Sarah. They're together, raising the kids somewhere far away. I hear snippets through my sister, but I don't ask. That chapter is closed, but takeaway. Betrayal cuts deepest from those closest. Tech, like a Ring doorbell, can expose lies, but it can't heal the wound. The real battle wasn't proving the affair with the footage. It was fighting the gaslighting, protecting my right to the truth, and reclaiming my life from their chaos. Sometimes the hardest resolution isn't revenge. It's walking away and building something new, brick by painful brick, knowing you survived the storm their lies created. The villain, it was never me. I was just the one who dared to turn on the light.